There's not much time. Look, he's going to turn up. Well, do you think she's waiting outside somewhere? Yeah, do that.
All stand.
My lord, I...
Good morning. I'm so sorry. I walked around the building 3 times before I got here. It's
Madam,
ridiculous.
Please sit down.
would you please be seated? Thank you. Logan.
I'm obliged, your lordship. Members of the jury, in this case, I appear for the plaintiff, Mrs. Constance Bell, and my learned friend, Mrs. Dixon, appears for the defendants, John Fischer, Peter Fischer, and Nigel Greatorex. This case concerns a dispute as to the ownership of a piece of property. The object which stands at the center of this controversy is a vase.
A what?
I think my learned friend means a vase, a piece of pottery, my lord.
Or indeed vase? Very well, Mr. Logan, carry on.
The object which stands at the center of this controversy is a piece of pottery, which my client contends forms part of the estate of her mother, the late Mrs. Ethel Fischer, and which was unlawfully appropriated by the defendant, John Fischer, and with the help and connivance of the other 2 defendants, Peter Fischer and Nigel Greatorex, sold for a considerable sum of money, thus denying the other beneficiaries under the late Mrs. Ethel Fischer's will a considerable portion of their rightful inheritance. I call Mrs. Constance Bell.
What is your religion?
CV
Take
and
the
a
Bible.
regular churchgoer. Lifelong, not like some.
Mrs. Bell, will you please just take the oath and spare us the biographical details?
Take the Bible in your right hand and read aloud the words on this card.
I swear by Almighty God that the evidence I shall give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help me God.
Mrs. Bell, we shall do it just once more. And this time, would you please read what is on the card, the whole card, and nothing but the card. Do you understand?
I swear by Almighty God that the evidence I shall give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Thank you. Mr. Logan.
You are Mrs. Constance Edwina Bell, née Fischer.
I am.
And you live at the Nook, Elson Avenue, Fulchester?
I do.
Now, will you tell the court what prompted you to bring this action against your brother?
I will.
Well, then please do.
Yes. Well, he pinched the pot of basil.
Pot of Basil. How did we get on to Garden Herb?
That's what we always called it, the pot of basil.
Called what?
The vase, vase.
Yes, Mrs. Bell, why did you call the piece of pottery a pot of basil?
After Uncle Basil. He was Mother's brother, and he gave it to us.
And when exactly was that?
Oh, that must have been in 1938. I can't tell you exactly when, but I think it was the spring. Yes, that's right. Yes, I was on holiday at the time, Easter holidays. I was at Cantrell Road Primary. I was very young.
Yes, of course. So the pot of basil came into your mother's possession in 1938. And do you know where your Uncle Basil got it?
Oh, yes. In China. You see, he'd been out there for some 20 years. He was quite a rich man. Something to do with spices. So there was no doubt that the thing was genuine, was there?
Genuine?
Yes, genuine Chinese. As I said, he'd been out there for some time, and he was not short of money. So he was not likely to be buying any old rubbish, was he?
So you were aware even then that Uncle Basil's gift was of some value?
Oh, yes. Well, I mean, it had to be.
And the vase became a treasured part of the family's life.
Oh, yes, my mother loved that vase.
Oh, call it what you will, Mrs. Bell. We know to what you are referring.
Well, she did.
And was the vase kept proudly on display for visitors to enjoy?
Oh, no. Well, the war came, and Mother was afraid it might be damaged by the bombing and the air raid, so she wrapped it up very carefully and stored it away. Of course, she always brought it out when Uncle Basil came to call. I mean, she didn't want him to think that we didn't appreciate it.
Oh, quite. And when was the last time that you saw the vase in your mother's house?
Well, I left home to get married in 1948. I got married very young.
Was the vase still in your mother's house then?
Oh, yes. As a matter of fact, she wanted to give it to me as a wedding present, but I wouldn't take it.
Why not?
Well, I mean, she was very fond of it, and I thought it better if she kept it herself. I remember she made a remark that she was going to leave it to me in her will.
Yes, unfortunately she failed to do so, otherwise we would not all be in this court today. Now, did you see the vase in your mother's house after 1948?
Well, no, I didn't actually see it, but of course I knew it was there.
Oh, how did you know?
Well, if it hadn't been there, she'd have told me. I mean, if she gave it to him, like he says, she'd have had to tell me, because she'd as good as promised it to me, hadn't she? And she didn't, so she hadn't.
And she didn't leave it to her in her will either, did she?
Mr. Fischer.
She just forgot, that's all. You know what her mind was like during those last
Mrs.
couple of
Bell.
years. She hardly knew the time of day.
And a fat lot of help she got from you!
Now stop that. Stop that, both of you. This is a court of law, and you will conduct yourselves accordingly.
My lord, I have endeavoured to explain to my client...
Do try to keep things under control, Mr. Logan.
Yes, I'll do my best, my lord.
And all this talk of wills, is the plaintiff here to contest a will? Because if so, either she or I are in the wrong courtroom. Now, please get us back onto the right track.
With alacrity, my lord. Now, first we have a vase.
Yes, well, it would be of considerable assistance to this court if we could see this vase.
That is unfortunately impossible, my lord, since the article in question is no longer in the country. However, we do have some photographs of it. Exhibit 1.
Mrs. Dixon?
Yeah, the photographs are agreed, my lord.
Well, at last we can see what we're talking about. Right, Mr. Logan.
Now, my client claims that that vase is part of her late mother's estate.
Despite the fact that it is not mentioned in the will.
On the contrary, my lord, it was included in the will in the general bequest.
To whom?
Exhibit 2, please. The late Mrs. Ethel Fisher's will. Now, as you will see from the document, my lord, it is a simple will naming the 3 children, John, Albert and Constance, as beneficiaries in equal shares. As your lordship will observe, the contents of the late Mrs. Fisher's home, 14 Gray's Way, were included in this general bequest.
Yes, I see. And you're saying, then, that the vase is included in the will as one of the contents of the house?
Exactly, my lord.
Just a moment. I see here there are 3 beneficiaries mentioned in the will.
Yes, my lord.
Yet we only seem to have 2 of them concerned in this case. Mrs. Bell, the plaintiff, and Mr. John Fischer, the defendant.
Ah, yes, my lord. The younger brother, Albert, will be appearing later as a witness for the plaintiff.
Yes, but why not as a co-plaintiff?
Well, my lord, you
Well,
see...
perhaps I can help you there. You see, he was much too busy.
Too busy. Too busy to take up the cudgels even on behalf of his own possible share of a considerable amount of money. I mean, if the jury find for the plaintiff, then he stands to benefit enormously.
Well, you see, what I mean is he was out of the country, and I had already started things rolling.
But he was obviously notified that this case was coming to trial.
Yes.
Did he not offer to join your action?
It was suggested to him, my lord, but it would appear that he has a considerable aversion to litigation.
Yes, well, I wish sometimes that more people took that attitude.
Indeed, my lord. Yes, it was only with great difficulty that he was persuaded to appear on behalf of his sister.
Yes, you see, it's me he's appearing on behalf of. He could never stand the sight of him. I mean, he left home on account of him.
And you?
We'll have none of that.
I wasn't even living at home at the time. He left to get shot of you.
Now, I think we'd better get back to the case, Mr. Logan. Now, Mrs. Bell, How did you and your brothers deal with the contents of your mother's home after her death? Did you just sell, or did you take what you want?
Well, we met and took what we wanted by agreement, and then we sold the rest.
Yes. Now, when the distribution of property was being discussed between you and your brothers, did you ask for the vase?
Well, actually, no.
Well, I find that very difficult to understand. You've told us all how very fond of it you were.
Well, I was very upset at the time. You see, I'd just lost my mother, and there I was sitting in her house with her barely cold in her grave.
Quick enough getting
I was too grief-stricken to consider who should take what.
Now, if that happens again, I shall have you removed from this court. Now, Mr. Logan, will you please get on with it?
Yes. Now, Mrs. Bell, you said that, quite understandably, in your grief, all thought of the vase slipped your mind. Now, when did you think of it again?
In June of last year. I was at the dentist and I was looking through a glossy magazine when I saw a picture of Pot of Basil.
And what was a picture of Pot of Basil doing in this magazine?
Well, underneath, it said that Pot of Basil had been sold at auction in London for £95,000.
£95,000. It's quite pretty, but I don't think I should like to live with it.
Well, there's no accounting for some people's tastes, my lord.
It is surely in questionable taste to pay £95,000 for a flower pot, when approximately 1/3 of the world's population cannot afford a decent meal.
Nevertheless, my lord, that would appear to be its present market value.
Why?
Why what, my lord?
Why is it worth £95,000?
Ah, well, my lord, have we got anything on this vase? Ah, yes, my lord, I have here a professional description of the vase by a Mr. R. Birdwell, Oriental art expert. The vase is of great rarity with exceptional fine colours. It is an ovoid jar standing 8 inches high in size with a floral scroll design depicting chrysanthemums between formal borders picked out in bright yellow and red on black ground. It is of the Ming dynasty, dated from the 15th century. It is an extremely rare piece, being of the 3-colour period, and is in perfect condition.
Well, I still wouldn't like to live with it.
No, my lord. Now, Mrs. Bell, you saw the picture in the magazine and recognized it as the article that you had known for a great part of your life as Pot of Basil.
Oh, well, no, not exactly. I mean, not at first. I saw it looked like Pot of Basil, and then I got to thinking that if the one in the picture was worth all that money, well, then our Pot of Basil might be worth a bit. And then I remembered that I hadn't seen Pot of Basil at the divvy.
Not the what?
Mrs. Bell, do you mean the meeting that you and your brothers had to distribute the furniture, etc.?
Yes, and I remember it wasn't on the list of things that were sold from the house either.
So what did you do?
I phoned John.
Your elder brother, John Fischer, one of the defendants.
That's right, him. And I knew straight away something was up.
Yes, what happened when you telephoned him?
Well, I said right off, what happened to Mother's Pot of Basil?
And?
He dropped the phone, guilty conscience.
Well, how did the telephone conversation continue?
It didn't. He pretended the phone was out of order. He said he couldn't hear me, but I could hear him all right, and his precious son.
Yes, how do you know that it was his son?
Well, a voice said, "What's up, Dad?" And he only has one son. And then he said, "The old cow's found out about Pot of Basil." Then he said, "Christ!"
Yes, did you try to pursue this conversation?
Yes, but he hung up. I tried phoning him back, but the phone was off the hook, so I went around to his house, but of course he wasn't in. He was dodging me all right.
Why was the mere fact that he was absent from his home a sign that he was dodging you?
Well, there was a World Cup match on the box, and he wouldn't have missed that for his own mother's funeral. He was dodging me all right.
And did you eventually achieve a meeting with your brother to discuss the matter?
Yes, 5 weeks later, and it took 2 solicitors' letters. But by then, of course, he had time to get his story straight, hadn't he? Do you know he had the cheek to say to me in the solicitor's
yes, thank
office?
you, Mrs. Bell. We needn't
No,
go into
it's
the details
ridiculous.
of what
My
he
mother would never have left him the vase.
Thank you.
I mean, he'd have probably used it as a spittoon.
Thank you, Mrs. Bell.
Then why didn't he tell me when I phoned him?
Thank you, Mrs. Bell.
And
I have
another
no
thing,
further
my
questions.
mother would have...
Mrs. Bell, when your counsel states that there are no further questions from him, that means also there will be no further answers from you. At least until you are addressed for counsel for the defendants. Now, do you understand?
Yes, I do. But there is one
Mrs.
point...
Bell. Right. Mrs. Dixon.
My lord. Mrs. Bell, were you very fond of this vase?
Yes, it was very nice.
And your mother, was she also very fond of it?
Yes, she certainly wouldn't have left it to the likes of him.
Well, let's see if we can establish some sort of measure of the affection which this object inspired in your family. Now, it came into your family as a gift from rich Uncle Basil in 1938, and your mother died in 1972?
Yes.
It's a period of about 34 years. Now, for what percentage of that time was it on open display in your house?
What do you mean?
Oh dear, it's a simple enough question, surely, Mrs. Bell. If you and your mother were so very fond of this thing, you would want to be able to look at it, to enjoy its beauty.
Yes, well...
So, how often in all those years did you bring it out where you could see it and admire it?
Well, like I said, Mother was afraid it might get damaged with the bombing during the war, so she stored it away in the attic.
That's a somewhat excessive precaution, surely, having regard to the fact that the nearest a bomb came during the entire war to 14 Gray's Way was at Dyke Green, 11 miles away, and that was an accidental dumping by one of our own planes.
Well, Mother didn't know it was going to be like that in 1939, did she?
No, nor in April 1938, apparently.
Beg your pardon?
I said, nor in April 1938, which is when she first banished this vase, of which she was so fond, to the attic. On the day after your Uncle Basil left your house to set up his own home after his lucrative sojourn in the East.
Well, she had to, hadn't she? I mean, you couldn't have a nice thing like that standing around the house with young, destructive children crawling all around the place.
Ah, so she did it to protect it from young, destructive children crawling all over the house. I see, yes. But young, destructive children like your elder brother John, who was 18 years old. Or like your younger brother, Albert, who was, what, a month and a half? Oh, no, perhaps she did it to protect it from you. After all, you were very young at
Yes,
the time.
I was...
15. Now, that's a bit long in the tooth to be crawling about the house breaking vases, isn't it? No, I suggest to you that your mother couldn't stand the sight of this object and hid it away the moment she thought it was safe to do so without offending rich Uncle Basil.
No, that's not true.
So, when did the vase appear again? On VJ Day, as part of the victory celebrations?
Well, no, I don't exactly recall.
Well, let me refresh your memory. Christmas, 1945.
Yes. There, you see, just after the war.
Coinciding with a visit from rich Uncle Basil. And when did it go back to the attic?
I can't remember.
On the day Uncle Basil left, perhaps.
Well, yes, it might have been.
To be brought down again on Uncle Basil's next visit, and then up again to the attic, and then down again next visit, and up and down and up and down and up and down. One begins to wonder if we are talking about a Ming vase or an early Chinese form of yo-yo.
Very amusing, Mrs. Dixon, but aren't you straying a bit from the point?
With respect, my lord, I think not. Now, according to the plaintiff, we are dealing with a sinister plot to deprive this family of one of its most treasured possessions. And she also claims that this vase was something of which her mother was extremely fond and would not have given away lightly. Well, now, I'm merely trying to put this whole matter into its true perspective and show that this antique present from Peking was never anything more than a family joke, until it came under the Southerby hammer.
Yes, it was always a joke to them, to him and Albert, but not to Mother and me. I mean, we appreciated it, they didn't.
Now, who was it first called it pot of basil?
What? Oh, I can't remember. It was just one of those things that happen.
It was your mother who first called it that, was it not?
Well, yes, it might have been. I mean, she was very sentimental. She liked giving things pet names, and after all, Uncle Basil was her only brother.
Oh, how very touching. Now, Uncle Basil must have been very pleased to hear that this treasured possession had been named after him.
I don't know.
You don't know. Don't you remember being solemnly warned before every one of his visits never to mention the phrase pot of basil in his presence?
He had no sense of humour.
Ah, so it was a family joke.
No. Well, we didn't want to upset him.
in case he cut you all out of his will.
Yes. No, we were the only family he had.
And in 1948, Uncle Basil died.
Yes.
Leaving his entire fortune to the foreign missions. Now, that must have been a sad blow for all of 14 Gray's Way, was it not?
Stingy old swine.
All that running up and down stairs for nothing. Never mind, all that is over now. Uncle Basil is laid to rest in the Fulchester Cemetery. And Potter Basil is laid to rest in the attic. Both of them completely forgotten. Until that fateful day in the dentist's waiting room when Potter Basil suddenly leapt at you from the pages of Country Life. Oh, what a dreadful moment for you.
What do you mean dreadful?
Well, Potter Basil was finally paying off as an investment, and you were not going to get a penny of it.
Well, that's what you think. I was the one who looked after Potter Basil. I was the one who scrubbed it every time Uncle Basil came to visit. I was the one who humped up and down to the attic stairs. They didn't care about it. He was the worst of all. He wanted to throw it out after Uncle Basil died. Mother wouldn't let him, of course. And now he's trying to pull a fast one. Well, you're not going to get away with it. I mean, that vase is as much mine as anybody's, and I'm going to get my share regardless.
Regardless? Regardless of what, Mrs. Bell? Regardless of the truth.
Does your lordship have any questions?
No. You may go back to your seat, Mrs. Bell.
Where is this brother of yours? You told me he'd be here. Well, how can I possibly do this?
Mr. Logan, what is going on?
Well, my lord, I'm in a bit of a quandary.
And what is the nature of your quandary, Mr. Logan?
Well, I was intending, my lord, to call as my next witness Albert Fischer, the younger brother, but it appears he's not present.
I mean, are you sure that he is not in the building?
Indeed, my lord, I understand he's not even in the country.
Oh, really? I mean, wasn't he notified of the date of these proceedings?
Yes, my lord, and it was his clearly stated intention to be here.
Then why is he not?
Apparently he's stranded in Paris, my lord, as a result of a strike at Orly Airport.
Yes, well, have you any idea how long his flight will be delayed?
Any news? Sorry, my lord.
Oh, really? Well, the day is nearly spent. Perhaps he will arrive by tonight. I shall adjourn until tomorrow morning.
All stand.
The case of Bell versus Fischer, Fischer and Greatorex will be resumed tomorrow in the Crown Court. A Ming vase was sold at Sotheby's for £95,000. The plaintiff, Mrs. Constance Bell, claims that it should have formed part of her late mother's estate, but that her brother, John Fischer, along with others, unlawfully appropriated the vase for their own profit. The case was adjourned yesterday as a witness for the plaintiff failed to appear owing to a strike at Orly Airport.
All stand.
Mr. Logan, are you able to continue?
Well, my lord, I'm afraid we're still cut off from France. My information is that the Orly Airport strike may continue for some days. I have been given to understand, however, that my witness is endeavouring to find alternative transport.
Do you wish to apply for an adjournment?
No, my lord, but I should be very grateful if you would allow my learned friend, Mrs. Dixon, to proceed with her case and permit me to interpose my witness when he arrives.
Yes, I don't see why not. Unless Mrs. Dixon has some deep-seated objection.
Well, my lord, it does put us at something of a disadvantage, only hearing half the plaintiff's case. However, in order to avoid any inconvenience to this court, to your lordship and to the members of the jury, I'm prepared to accept this handicap.
Very well. Proceed.
I call John Fischer.
What is your religion?
I'm Church of England.
Take the Bible in your right hand and read aloud the words on this card.
I swear by Almighty God that the evidence I shall give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
You are John Wilson Fisher of 212 Derby Road, Fulchester.
Yes, I am.
Mr. Fisher, let's get straight to the heart of this matter. How did this vase come into your possession?
My mother gave it to me.
Well, can you remember when?
No, not exactly. That is, I didn't think it was important at the time, so I didn't write it in a diary or anything.
Well, can you give us some approximation, perhaps describe the circumstances in which the gift was made?
Well, it would be sometime in 1965. Peter, that's my son, he'd be about 13 or 14, he'd become interested in fishing, and I remembered that there was a lot of Dad's old fishing tackle up in the attic at Gray's Way. And while I was sorting through the tackle in the attic, I came across the pot with the box with the pot of Basil in it. And when I came downstairs, I told Mother, and she told me to take it away. She was fed up with it.
We've just heard your sister telling us that this vase was one of your mother's most treasured possessions.
Well, yes, it was until Uncle Basil died.
Hadn't she herself given it this sentimental pet name, Pot of Basil?
Well, there was nothing sentimental about it. She had another name for it, Pot of Gold, because she reckoned that when Uncle Basil died, we'd be able to fill it with sovereigns. And then, when that didn't happen, she lost interest, and she'd forgotten all about it when I told her I'd seen it in the attic.
And when you reminded her, she told you it was yours?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. What happened to it after that?
Well, I forgot all about it too. I mean, I was never wild about the thing. And then Peter went to work for Mr. Greatorex, the antique dealer. Peter was very keen on old things, things that we thought was just a lot of junk he reckoned he could get a price for. So I finally remembered the pot of Basil. So I gave it to him and told him, go on, see if you can get a price for that.
And when did you give the pot of Basil to your son?
Just before Christmas 1973. I reckoned that if he got a few quid for it, it would help him buy his Christmas presents.
You did not know at that time the true value of the object?
Oh, no.
When did you find out?
April 1974, just after the sale at Sotheby's.
And how did you feel when you heard the news?
Well, how would you feel if you found out you'd just given away £95,000?
Understandably aggrieved, as I'm sure you did. Yes, thank you, Mr. Fisher.
Thank you.
Yes, so, Mr. Fisher, you didn't profit at all from the sale of the pot of Basil.
I didn't say that.
Oh, then you did profit.
Oh, yes. Yes, Peter and I went along to see Mr. Greatorex to have a talk about it.
When was that?
April 74, just after the sale. I told him I didn't think it was fair what he'd done.
How did Mr. Greatorex react?
Well, he was quite nice about it. He pointed out that he wasn't obligated to do anything. He'd bought the vase from Peter for £50 in good faith.
A very good faith, as it turned out.
And he reckoned that we were entitled to a slice of the cake, and so he wrote me out a cheque for £5,000.
£5,000? Is that all?
Yes, £5,000.
Are you sure that that's all he offered you?
Yes, I can prove it. I have my bank statement for April in my pocket. It says that I paid in a cheque for £5,000 on the 30th of April.
How very fortuitous. What do you do for a living, Mr. Fisher?
I'm an accountant.
Really? A chartered accountant?
Well, no.
You're a bookkeeper, Mr. Fisher. It's not quite the same thing, is it?
Well, I know, as much as most of them.
But you don't earn the same kind of money, Mr. Fisher. About $2,500 a year, I understand.
Is that correct?
Yes.
What is Carrickbeg?
I've no idea.
Oh, come, Mr. Fisher. Carrickbeg is a highly desirable residence in Barton Avenue, one of the most salubrious neighbourhoods in Fulchester, is it not?
Yes, it might be.
You know it is, Mr. Fisher, because you had an order to view it in October of 1973. The asking price then was £28,000. Where were you going to get that kind of money from, Mr. Fischer?
I wasn't going to buy it. I was just looking at it.
But you went back for another look in June of 1974.
Yes, the price had dropped.
To 25,500. And, of course, the £5,000 from Mr. Greatorex could have been a deposit.
Yes.
And it was indeed a deposit, not on the house, but a little bit on account from Mr. Greatorex until he could pay you the rest of the sale price as previously arranged.
No. No, I only got £5,000. I can prove it.
You only have £5,000 at the moment, Mr. Fischer, because after your sister tumbled to what was going on, you didn't dare accept the rest of the money. But I put it to you that you knew very well the value of the pot of Basil by October 1973, if not before.
No, I didn't.
And that with the help of your son and Mr. Greatorex, you devised this ingenious plan. A fictitious gift from your son, from you to your son, and a fictitious sale from him to Mr. Greatorex to ensure that you would get the lion's share and your brother and sister would get nothing.
But it was mine. The pot of Basil was mine. My mother had given it to me.
Ah, yes, in 1965. A very coincidental 7 years before your mother's death, taking it out of the realms of liability for death duties.
But it was only £5,000. I have my bank statement to prove it.
I know, Mr. Fischer. I've seen a copy.
Thank you, Mr. Fischer.
I call Peter Fischer.
What is your religion?
I haven't got one. I don't believe in it.
Let him affirm.
Just read aloud the words on this card.
I do solemnly, sincerely, and truly declare and affirm that the evidence I shall give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
You are Peter Edward Fischer of 212 Derby Road, Fulchester.
I am.
And you work for Mr. Nigel Greatorex at the Antiquary in Burton Street, Fulchester.
Well, that's not strictly accurate.
I beg your pardon?
I don't actually work for Mr. Greatorex. He's taking me into partnership, although the papers haven't been signed yet.
Oh, Mr. Greatorex must think very highly of your capabilities.
Yes, well, you'll have to ask him that, won't you?
Yes, quite. Now, Mr. Fischer, when did you first see pot of Basil?
The beginning of December 1973.
Under what circumstances?
Well, it was like the old man said. I was telling him the kind of money some of the old junk was fetching. Stuff that used to be considered junk. You know, old kettles, mangles, almost any kind of old crockery. They're very much sought after these days.
Yes, so I believe.
Old mangles. You mean those old things that you turn a handle and press sheets? People pay money for them?
Oh, yes, my lord. We sold one last week for £35.
Good gracious me. I have one of them in my cellar.
Oh, maybe I could call round, my lord. Make you an offer you can't refuse.
Well, it is most certainly in very good condition, and Yes, well, I think perhaps first things first. Mrs. Dixon?
Oh, yes. Thank you, my lord. So, in December 1973, you and your father were discussing the antique trade.
Yes.
Well,
he produced the pot of Basil and asked me if it was worth anything.
and what was your reply?
Well, I told him it might fetch a few quid if we found the right mug punter.
Mug punter?
Let's say someone who fancied that sort of thing.
You did not recognize the object as being a valuable, indeed almost priceless, Ming vase of the 15th century.
Oh, no, of course not. That's a very specialised field. I'm into antique firearms and silver. I'm useless on that Chinese stuff. So I took it to Nigel, Mr. Greatorex.
You thought he might be able to identify it for you?
Well, no, I didn't think there was anything to identify. I just thought he might buy it from me. And he did.
For £50?
Yes, eventually, when I had to talk him into it.
I expect you were annoyed when you found out that he'd sold it for £95,000.
Well, no, not really, my lord. I mean, that's the antique business, isn't it? You win a few, you lose a few. You never know. May happen to me someday.
Mr. Fischer, you seem to take the loss of £94,950 very philosophically.
It wasn't as much as that.
Indeed?
No, you have to deduct the auctioneer's commission.
How long have you been in the antique trade?
6 years and more. I went to work at the Antiquary straight from school.
Doing what?
What do you mean, doing what? I was learning the business.
And sweeping up and dusting and polishing and packing. In fact, a general dog's body.
Oh, yes, to begin with. I mean, that's a pretty good way to learn about antiques. Handling them, feeling them, you get to notice things about them. I was learning all the time.
Did you find the job interesting or boring?
Both, I suppose. I didn't much fancy all that skivvying, but it got really interesting when Nigel took me out on the knocker.
On the knocker?
Yes, my lord. You know, knocking on doors, seeing if people have got any old stuff they want to get rid of. We were a pretty good team. You see, Nigel would go in first and suss out anything worthwhile. Then I'd pop round a couple of days later and tell them I was working my way through Yes, well, I mean, Mr. Greatorex knew more about what sort of stuff to look for. But I was learning all the time.
Obviously.
Well, that's what business is all about, isn't it? Buying as cheap as you can and selling for as much, for a fair profit.
Yes, as for instance, when you called on Mrs. Edwards, an old-age pensioner, 21 Green Street, and paid her 50 pence for an American Indian head cent dated 1877. What did that fetch when you sold it?
I can't remember.
£90, Mr. Fischer. It's a very fair profit, isn't it, for the antiquary, if not for Mrs. Edwards.
I didn't know what it was worth when I bought it.
Or take the case of the box of magic lantern slides, which you bought from a Mr. Carson.
My lord, my learned friend is painting a very distorted picture. The fortuitous windfall is the lifeblood of the antique world, and all this is quite irrelevant.
It depends upon what you mean by fortuitous, Mrs. Dixon. However, if Mr. Logan had a point to make, he's already made it. Don't you know?
Tell me, Mr. Fischer, were there many occasions on which you did not know the worth of the articles you bought, what was the expression? On the knocker?
Well, yes, at first. And plenty of times it went the other way. I'd pay a good price for a bit of rubbish that we couldn't sell.
Oh, dear. Wasn't Mr. Greatorex rather angry when that happened?
Well, he wasn't too pleased. But he explained to me where I'd gone wrong, and I'd read up on the subject, and I never made the same mistake twice.
He must have taught you a great deal.
Yes, well, I taught him a few things too. He comes to me if he wants to know anything about firearms or silver.
And you go to him for information about furniture or coins or bronzes?
Yes.
Or Ming vases?
Yes. Well, he didn't know much about them.
Yes, he knew more than you, though, apparently.
We just got lucky, that's all. I mean, it happens in our business.
Mr. Fischer, do you consider yourself to be a law-abiding citizen?
Yes, of course.
You've no criminal record?
Of course not.
Well, have you ever been fined for breaking the law?
What? Oh, you mean traffic offences, parking, that sort of thing?
No. I'm referring to a much more heinous crime, a dastardly crime against society.
Oh, my lord.
Yes. I hope you can justify that, Mr. Logan.
Yes, my lord. Mr. Fischer, is it not a fact that in November 1973 you were fined 75 pence for keeping a library book considerably longer than the permitted time?
Well, yes. I mean, everybody does sometime.
And what was the book?
I can't remember. I'm doing it all the time.
I thought you might remember this book in particular. It was entitled Ming Pottery and Porcelain by Soame Jennings, and is considered to be the definitive work in that subject.
Yes, but what you don't...
It was reserved at the Fulchester Central Library by a Mr. Peter Fischer on the 8th of September 1973 and issued to him on the 12th and not returned until November.
That was nothing to do with our Ming vase. I was looking up something else entirely. I mean, I didn't even see the pot of Basil until December, after I'd returned the book.
You could have taken the book out again.
I didn't think. I mean, it was just a vase.
With the informative words of Soame Jennings still fresh in your mind, and your long experience of the fortuitous windfall in antiques. Now, really, Mr. Fischer, are you really saying that in December 1973, when you handed that vase over to Mr. Greatorex, that you did not know it was a Ming?
Yes.
You may leave the witness box.
Well, that's not fair. I mean, he's making it look as if
I said you might leave the witness box.
I call Nigel Greatorex.
Nigel Greatorex.
There's nothing to do with it.
Is Mr. Greatorex in court?
Yes, my lord.
Well, thank you.
What is your religion?
Churchman.
Take the Bible in your right hand and read aloud the words on this card.
I'm stupid. I swear by Almighty God that the evidence I shall give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
If you wish to have a discussion, would you please do so outside? If not, just sit quiet. quietly. Right, Mrs. Dixon.
You are Nigel Greatorex of 17 Burton Street, Fulchester.
Yes.
And you are the owner of the antiquary, an antique shop at the same address.
Yes.
Now, will you tell us, please, how this vase came into your possession?
Yes. Well, young Peter brought it
Now, just
into the
one
shop.
moment, please. Young Peter, now, would that be Peter Fischer?
Oh, yes, I'm terribly sorry.
Thank you.
Peter Fischer brought it into the shop one day and asked if I'd like to buy it.
When was that?
That was early in December 1973.
Now, what was your opinion of the vase when you first saw it?
It was a very pretty vase, nice colour, eminently sellable.
Did you recognise it as Ming?
Oh, no, certainly not. You see, I know nothing about Ming. English pottery is my speciality. I'll tell you anything you like about English pottery, but not Chinese. I leave that to experts in the field.
So to you it was just a pretty vase and worth about £50?
Oh, yes, but I wasn't even sure of that. But I was willing to take a chance on it.
And when did you find out its true value?
In the March, when I took it to Sotheby's and they told me what it was.
Well, that must have been a pleasant surprise.
Well, I was flabbergasted. And then when it fetched 95,000 at the auction, well, I mean, after all, we'd only expected £60,000.
We?
Oh, no, me and Sotheby's, the chap I took it to.
Yes, I see. Now, how did the Fischers find out about your little stroke of luck?
Well, I told Peter about it when I got back from Sotheby's from having it valued.
Well, how did he take it?
Oh, well, he was jolly angry at first. I mean, you can't blame him, really, can you? But, well, he knows that these kind of things happen in our business, and he calmed down when I told him he wouldn't lose by it.
Did you come to some sort of arrangement with him, some agreement as to his share of the sale?
Oh, no. I mean, all's fair in love and antiques. I just gave him a rise.
And Mr. John Fischer, did you discuss what he would get out of it?
Not then, no. You see, I'd only expected to get £60,000 for the vase. It wasn't until I got £95,000 that I felt I could be generous and let him have £5,000.
And also when you decided to take on Peter as a partner.
Oh, yes, well, I could afford to take things a bit easy then.
Mr. Greatorex, was there at any time any collusion between you and the other two defendants to conceal the true nature of the sale of this vase?
No.
Thank you, Mr. Greatorex.
Mr. Greatorex, you did not recognize this vase as a piece of 15th century Ming?
No. I've already told you that.
Well, what did you think it was that made it worth £50?
Well, I thought it might be a Victorian replica.
It's a 19th century copy?
Yes. You see, the potteries turned out quite a lot of them around then. There was quite a call for that sort of thing in Victorian times.
And to which pottery did you ascribe this piece?
Well, I didn't actually. You see, there was no mark.
Oh, come now, Mr. Greatorex. English pottery is your speciality. I'll tell you anything you like about English pottery. Isn't that what you said just now?
Yes, but I can't be expected to know everything. I mean, it was just a pretty vase.
Ah, yes, and eminently sellable.
Yes.
And you acquired it in early December 1973. Yes, when did you put it on display?
I'm sorry,
It's
what?
a simple question, surely. When did you offer it for sale in your shop?
Well, I didn't actually put it in the shop.
An eminently sellable piece of Victoriana? With Christmas coming up? An ideal gift for somebody's rich Aunt Mabel? And you didn't even offer it for sale?
Well,
You did know what you were buying when you offered Peter Fischer £50 for what you had convinced him was a cheap Victorian replica, didn't you?
No, I can assure you.
Well, did you deliberately deceive Peter Fischer as to the real worth of the vase?
I'm sorry, may I have a glass of water?
Yes, of course.
Thank you.
Do you think we should get this? Ask the solicitor. I'd like to have a talk with Constance.
Thank you. I'm sorry, my lord.
You feel well enough to continue?
Well,
Yes or no, Mr. Greatorex?
Yes, I think so, my lord.
Well, would you like the usher to bring you a chair?
No, I shall be all right now, thank you.
Well, let's get on with it, Mr. Logan.
My lord,
Oh, what is it now, Mrs. Dixon?
My lord, I've just received some further instructions from my clients and would be obliged if you would allow a short adjournment to enable us to explore certain possibilities.
Am I right in thinking that what you have in mind might help us bring this sorry matter to an early close?
It is to be hoped so, my lord.
Very well. I shall adjourn for 15 minutes.
All stand. All stand.
Well, Mrs. Dixon, you've had an opportunity to discuss certain matters with Mr. Logan. What have you to report?
Well, I'm afraid, my lord, that the area of disagreement between my clients and the plaintiff is, if anything, wider than before.
There is not even the remotest chance of common ground being found.
No, none that I can see, my lord. It was like driving repeatedly into a brick wall.
Oh, well. The implication of that is that your client is being unreasonably stubborn, Mr. Logan.
Oh, yes, my lord. I do not accept the implication that my client is being unreasonably stubborn.
Stubborn? She's a vindictive old bitch.
Never mind the money. You'll all end up in jail where you belong.
Be quiet.
It's not a trial you want to do.
I
Crucifixion.
will not have this conduct in my court.
I apologize on behalf of my client, my lord.
And I on behalf of mine.
Yes, well, all right, but I warn you, I am not going to take any more of this. As it's getting late, I think perhaps I shall adjourn.
But, my lord, it is barely turned 3.
Then that will allow even longer for all tempers to cool, including my own.
All stand.
The case of Bell versus Fischer, Fischer and Greatorex will be concluded tomorrow in the Crown Court. An old vase, a family joke for years, fetches £95,000 at auction. Was it an outright gift to him from his mother, as one of the defendants, John Fischer, claims? Or is the plaintiff, Mrs. Constance Bell, entitled to her share as part of her late mother's estate? The trial was interrupted yesterday for what appeared to be an attempt to settle the matter out of court. This was unsuccessful, and the cross-examination of Nigel Greatorex, one of the defendants, continues.
Remember, you are still on oath, Mr. Greatorex.
Mr. Greatorex, we were talking yesterday of why you did not put the vase on sale the moment you bought it.
Yes. Well, very often, if something comes into the shop that I like, I take it home to the flat for a while.
And you liked this vase?
Well, yes, it was a very pretty vase. Besides, I'd just sold a piece of Wedgwood from my own collection and had a space on my shelves.
So it stood in your flat over Christmas and into the new year until March, in fact, when you took it to Sotheby's for a valuation.
Yes.
Why?
I'm sorry? Why? Why what?
Well, why did you suddenly decide that this Victorian replica was worth all the time and the trouble and the expense of a visit to Sotheby's?
Well, living with the piece, seeing it day after day, it began to grow on me. And, well, in this business, you develop a kind of sixth sense about these things.
A very slow sort of sixth sense that takes 3 months to swing into action.
Yes, well, I'm quite sure had I been a clever plotter, I would have not wasted quite so much time.
On the contrary, Mr. Greatorex, it is just about the length of time that a clever plotter would allow before proceeding to the next stage of his plan. I have no further questions, my lord.
Thank you, Mr. Greatorex.
That concludes the case for the defendants.
See him. My lord, as I indicated earlier in the case, I have a witness who was unavoidably detained and was unable to give his evidence at the appropriate time. That witness has now arrived, and I would ask your lordship if I might now call him.
Very well.
I call Albert Fischer.
Albert Fischer, please.
What is your religion?
Buddhist. I declare in the presence of Buddha that I am unprejudiced, and if what I shall speak should prove false, or if by colouring the truth others should be led astray, then may the holy existences Buddha, Dhamra, and Prosanglia, in whose sight I now stand, together with the devotees of the 22 firmaments, punish me and also my migrating soul.
Yes, you are Albert Basil Fischer.
Yes.
And you live at 14 Shaoqian Road, Hong Kong?
Shou Kai Wan. That is correct.
One moment, please. Am I to understand that you've come all the way from Hong Kong, especially for this trial?
No, not exactly, my lord. This is mainly a business trip. But when I heard this case was coming up, I thought it was about time someone tried to sort this family out.
I'm inclined to agree with you. Carry on.
Yes, you are the brother of John Fischer and Mrs. Constance Bell, and with them a beneficiary under your late mother's will?
Yes and no.
I beg your pardon.
Yes, I am the brother of John Fischer and Mrs. Constance Bell. No, I did not benefit from my mother's will.
Yes, but when the estate was settled, you received 1/3 share, a cheque for £3,112 90 pence.
Yes, but I didn't benefit from it. I gave it all to charity.
All?
Every penny. I wanted no part of it.
You have no use for money?
No use for some money, my lord. I'm a very successful businessman, but I have an almost pathological aversion to bequests. You see, I grew up listening to those two talking about what they would do when Uncle Basil died and made them rich. And when that damn pot of Basil was on display, I got thumped and kicked and screamed at if I went anywhere near it, in case it got broken and Uncle Basil cut them out of his will. Now, I was only 10 when Uncle Basil died, but I can still remember the reading of his will. It was one of the most enjoyable days of my life. It was then that I decided never to expect anything from anyone.
That's a remarkable conclusion for a boy of 10.
No, not really. I mean, look what it did to them. My father wanted John to be a chartered accountant, but John couldn't be bothered. Uncle Basil was going to make him rich, so why study? Well, now he's a bookkeeper. All Constance ever did was loll about the house reading fashion magazines, practicing to be a lady. She never made it either. Now, when I left home in 1956 to do my national service, they were still blaming Uncle Basil for the mess they'd made of their lives. When I got demobbed, I didn't go home. I'd done some service in the Far East, so I went back there and got into Uncle Basil's business, spices. I now own the firm that he founded. In fact, I'm Uncle Basil all over again. And I can tell them now to expect from me exactly what they got from him.
Yes, this is all very interesting, I'm sure, Mr. Logan, but aren't we straying from the point?
Yes, indeed, my lord. Yes, Mr. Fischer, what we're investigating here is the title of the article of pottery which was known in the Fischer household as Pot of Basil.
Oh, yes. Yes, treated like the Holy Grail when Uncle Basil was around, chucked in the attic when he wasn't.
Quite. Now, your brother has stated that your mother treated the vase as a joke, while your sister maintains that it was one of your mother's most treasured possessions.
Really?
Well, what would you say was your mother's attitude towards it?
Well, that's easy. She hated the sight of it. No, that's too strong. My mother never hated anyone or anything. I think possibly she resented it. Oh, not because Uncle Basil didn't come across, but, well, because of what it had done to her children.
With the exception of yourself, of course.
Oh, she knew it was one of the things that had driven me out of the house. Yes, I think she might have resented that too.
Well, that's a different account from the one that we've heard from your sister or from your brother.
Yes, I'm sure it is.
Would it surprise you to hear that your brother has claimed that your mother gave him the pot of basil in 1965?
No, it wouldn't surprise me to hear that he claimed that at all. Although I know for a fact it's not true.
And what makes you say that?
My mother gave me the vase in 1969.
That is a lie. It's a bloody lie.
Remove that man from the court.
He gave it to me. I'm the eldest. He wanted me to have it.
Your mother gave you the vase in 1969?
Yes.
Yes, well, now, do you have any proof of this? Any deeds or documents or a witness?
No. But then neither does John.
Well, then, can you tell us something of the circumstances in which the gift was made?
Yes. Well, I was spending the weekend with my mother.
Now, did you often visit your mother?
I live in Hong Kong. I have a business to run.
Would you mind answering the question? Did you often visit your mother?
I can see what you're getting at. No, it was the first time I had visited her since I left home in 1956.
Oh, a real prodigal son.
Hardly prodigal. I already owned my own business by then.
Your first visit home in, 13 years, and your mother gives you the family heirloom.
Yes, she told me to take it back to China, where it belonged.
Well, why didn't you, Mr. Fischer?
I've already told you. I wanted no part of that house.
Oh, did you tell your mother?
Yes. But she wouldn't believe me. Oh, with those two to judge from, she couldn't imagine a child of hers without the vulture instinct.
Now, did you actually see the vase on this visit?
Yes, it was in the attic when I looked.
Did you touch it at all on that occasion?
No, why should I?
Your mother did not physically hand it over to you?
No.
Were you present at the family meeting when the distribution of property was discussed?
Oh, yes, indeed. I wouldn't have missed that for all the spice in China.
And was pot of basil discussed at this meeting?
No, nor did I expect it to be. I already knew by then it had disappeared from the attic.
Oh, you checked?
Oh, yes, indeed. I know those two. You see, there were two things of value in that house. Now, after the funeral, I checked. Both were missing.
Two things of value?
Yes, the Ming vase.
Ah, so you knew it was Ming?
Oh, yes, I knew it was genuine Ming. I mean, I'd seen plenty of it in the Far East. Though I didn't know its real value, I thought it might be worth a couple of thousand.
What was the other item of value?
An oil painting.
An oil painting?
Yes. A view of Lake Windermere.
My lord, I can't see what this oil painting has to do with the case we're discussing.
Nor could I for the moment, Mr. Logan, but it might be interesting finding out.
A view of Lake Windermere. Now, what made this painting valuable?
My lord, I have received further instructions from my client and would be obliged if your lordship would grant a short adjournment so that we may explore certain possibilities.
No, I will not, Mr. Logan. This case has already tested my patience beyond endurance. We shall hear it to the bitter end, and I suspect I am using that word in its literal sense. Continue, Mrs. Dixon.
What made this painting so valuable, Mr. Fischer?
It was painted by an artist called John Rathbone towards the end of the 18th century. His works usually fetch around 2,000 each.
Oh, are you an expert on minor English painters?
No, I'm not. But I got my information from an informed source.
From whom?
Constance's husband. He's an art teacher.
She gave it to me. The painting is
Take
mine.
that
She said
woman
I
out
could
of
have
court.
it. She said I could have it.
Come along, madam, please.
Well,
Mr. Fischer, when did you last see this oil painting in your mother's
My
house?
lord, we're not here to discuss an oil painting. We're simply concerned with the pot of basil.
My lord, if the mother gave the painting to the daughter, then it adds credence to our claim that she gave the vase to the elder son.
or to the younger son, a tenuous argument, Mrs. Dixon. However, if you insist.
My lord, in view of this line of examination and its possible consequences for the plaintiff, I ask your lordship to allow my client to return that she might hear it.
May I make the same application on behalf of my
Oh
client?
dear, I don't know that I should be able to stand it. However, bearing in mind the information that is coming to light, I suppose it would be in their best interest if they were present. Very well, Usher. Just one moment. I want these two kept as far apart as possible. Is there any room at the back of the court over there?
I'm afraid not, my lord.
Oh, dearie me, right. Mrs. Bell, will you please go and sit up at the back of the court there?
But that's where the prisoners sit.
There are no prisoners in this case yet, but there may well be, if only for contempt of court. Now, will you please sit where I have indicated? And may I also suggest that Mrs. Bell's solicitor sit somewhere near her in case of emergency. Right. Are we all sitting comfortably? Then let us continue.
Mr. Fischer, when did you last see this oil painting in your mother's house?
The night before my mother died. It usually hung in the dining room.
Is that where you saw it that night?
No, it was in the cupboard under the stairs. Jerry, that's Constance's husband, Jerry and I were looking for an extra hot water bottle for Mother when we came across the painting. That's when he told me how much it was worth. Then, after the funeral, when we met to sort out the loot, I looked again, and it wasn't there.
So, according to you, a Ming vase and a valuable oil painting were both missing. Now, did you mention this at the family meeting?
No, why should I? After all, they were only robbing each other.
One finds oneself wondering why you attended that meeting at all.
Well, for fun. You must admit it was pretty funny. Constance thought she'd pulled a fast one with the painting, and all the time John was doing her for 95,000.
You don't like your brother and sister very much, do you?
No.
And their discomfiture in this court is giving you a great deal of pleasure.
All their lives, they've whined about not getting what they're entitled to. Well, I think this time they might make it.
You appear to be a very vindictive man, Mr. Fischer.
As you can see, it runs in the family.
No further questions, my lord?
Thank you, Mr. Fischer.
Oh, my lord, as a result of some of the evidence given by the last witness, I would like to recall the defendant, John Fischer.
Very well. You are still on oath, Mr. Fischer?
Yes.
Now, Mr. Fischer, your brother has testified that the pot of Basil was in the attic of your mother's house on his visit to this country in 1969. Now, would you care to comment on that? In the light of your statement that she gave you the pot of Basil in 1965.
Yes. My mother gave me the pot of Basil in 1965. That is when it became my property. Of course, the jar was still in the attic in 1969. I left it there till it was convenient for me to take it to my own place. I mean, I had lots of things stored in my mother's house. There was my golf clubs, for instance. I hadn't played golf since I got married, so I left my clubs with Mum. Then there was my Meccano set. That was mine, but I didn't take it back till after the funeral. And the hamster cage.
Yes, thank you. I think you've made your point. Now, there is no doubt at all in your mind that the date on which your mother gave you that vase was 1965.
No doubt at all.
Thank you.
Mr. Logan?
I have no cross-examination, Lord.
Thank you, Mr. Fischer.
But I would like to recall my client, my lord, for the same reasons.
Oh, well, really, there is a danger that this is never going to end. All right, go ahead. Caller. You are still on oath.
I don't mind taking it again. I've got nothing to hide.
Just listen to your counsel.
Now, Mrs. Bell, do you have this oil painting, View of Lake Windermere by John Rathbone, in your possession?
Yes, Mother gave it to me.
When?
It was years and years ago when Jerry and I were first setting up house in 1949. We'd been to Lake Windermere on our honeymoon, and Mother knew just how much we enjoyed it.
How? They never even sent her a postcard.
Don't you start.
It was then she gave me the painting.
Yes, but we have heard that it was in a cupboard under the stairs in your mother's house the night before she died.
We only had a flat. It wouldn't have looked nice hanging in a small flat, so we left it there until we had somewhere nice to hang it.
So you stored it at your mother's?
Yes, it was there, but it was mine. It's always been mine. It's got nothing to do with him or anybody else.
Thank you, Mrs. Bell.
Aren't you going to ask me about him? I mean, young Mr. Holier-than-thou.
I
want nothing from this family, he says.
I have no more questions,
Why
Mrs.
don't
Bell.
you ask him about Dad's coin collection?
Mrs. Bell.
Funny we haven't seen it since he went to China. I mean, what did he buy his ticket with?
Out. Take her out of the court.
Members of the jury, despite the many diversions and digressions of the past few days, I'm going to tell you that this is a very simple case. A case so simple, in fact, that it should never have been brought to this court to waste so much of your valuable time. Now, my client, John Fischer, is an honest, hard-working man. So, why is he here? He is here because his sister, who has displayed in this court a capacity for vindictiveness that would make a harpy look like a fairy godmother. He is here because that sister is jealous of his good fortune. Or rather, I should say, of his imagined good fortune. For what did John Fischer receive for pot of Basil? £5,000. Only £5,000. And that was merely a generous gesture, not called for in law, on the part of one of the other of the defendants, Nigel Greatorex. £5,000. Well, now, the way prices are today, she'll soon be getting that much, and more, for her view of Lake Windermere. Her title to which has exactly the same validity as that of John Fischer to pot of Basil, namely, a gift from their mother. But implications have been made in this court of some sort of conspiracy, of some deep plot to cover up the sale of this vase. Now, really, my clients are not stupid men. Mr. Greatorex has been a pillar of the antique world for years. Mr. Peter Fischer is a man of considerable experience in the field. And the top antique auctions are now front-page news. Now, could these men really believe that the sale of this vase for £95,000 could possibly remain a secret? So where is the conspiracy? Indeed, was there ever any need for a conspiracy? John Fischer has told us that this vase was a gift to him from his mother in 1965. Now, is that so very hard to believe? He is the eldest child, who never let a week go by without visiting his mother. And against that, we have the claim of gift to young Albert, who left home in 1956 and visited his mother twice, once in 1969 and once the night before she died. Well, now, who would you give the vase to if you were the mother? It is quite obvious that John Fischer removed the vase from his mother's house in 1972 because he knew it was his own property and had been for years. I invite you so to find and to return a verdict for the defendants.
As members of the jury, John Fischer claims that his mother gave him the vase in 1965. Albert Fischer states that he was given the vase in 1969. Well, who is to be more readily believed? John with £95,000 and a somewhat shaky future at stake? Or Albert, who stands to gain nothing? Albert, who gave his testimony openly, and perhaps too openly? Or John, who only remembered that he had left the vase in his mother's house after it had been shown to be there in 1969? And then we must consider the passage of the vase through the hands of all three defendants. Were they really unaware of what they were holding? Is it coincidence that Peter took from the library the authoritative book on Ming pottery in the August, and that John was looking at houses priced beyond his normal means in the October? Is that not the action of a man who is expecting a fortuitous windfall? Now, if it were his legal property, as he claims, now why didn't he take it to Sotheby's himself? Because that kind of story would have made newspaper headlines instead of the more discreet pages of country life, and discovery by his sister would have been certain. Had his conscience been clear, that wouldn't have mattered. But in the circumstances, I submit that the defendant's stories are false, and I accordingly ask you to find for the plaintiff.
Now, members of the jury, in essence, this case is a simple one. The mother of the plaintiff and of the defendant, in her will, left all the contents of the house to her three children, Mrs. Bell, Mr. John Fischer, and Mr. Peter Fischer, in equal shares. The question is, was this Ming vase still the property of the deceased at the time of her death, so that it was still something that could properly be called the contents of the house? The other question is, whether or not the vase was given to John Fischer in 1965 as he says it was. If it was, you should find for the defendant. If it was not, you should find for the plaintiff. Now, you must put out of your mind all thoughts of coin collections and oil paintings and things of that kind, and concentrate solely on the piece of pottery, the one called by the family pot of Basil. Also put out of your mind the suggestion made by Albert Fischer that the pottery was given to him. On his own evidence, he rejected it. Now, if you think that this vase was not given to John Fischer in 1965, it follows that it belonged to the estate of the deceased. The question then arises as to whether or not the defendant Greatorex bought the vase, as he claims he did, and bought it in good faith from Peter Fischer. If he did buy it in good faith, then he has committed no wrong and there is no claim against him. If he, however, did not buy it, or did not buy it in good faith, then he is equally liable for the whole of the value of the vase. I therefore wish you to return what is called a special verdict. The first question is, did the deceased give the vase to John Fischer before her death? The second question, which arises if your answer is in the negative to the first question, is as follows. Did the defendant, Greatorex, purchase the vase in good faith from Peter Fischer? Now remember that in a civil case such as this, the burden of proof lies on the plaintiff. The plaintiff must establish her case on the balance of probabilities. Now, members of the jury, would you kindly retire to consider your verdict?
All stand. Members of the jury, will your foreman please stand? Just answer this question, yes or no. Have you decided upon answers to the agreed questions which you have before you?
Yes.
Did the deceased give the vase to John Fischer before her death?
No.
Did the defendant, Greatorex, purchase the vase in good faith from Peter Fischer?
No.
Judgment was awarded against the three defendants, John Fischer, Peter Fischer and Nigel Greatorex, for £95,000, and they were ordered to pay the plaintiff's costs. And our cameras return to bring you another leading case from the Crown Court.